Good evening, everyone. Welcome to closing comments here on September 22nd. Let's jump right into our charts and see what we kicked off the new week. We had a really hot start here for the week in the cattle market. Both feeders and fats jumping out and posting some nice gains here today. We do have our December live cattle on the board to start us off. Did see a nice setup coming up into the new week. Over the last 8 or 9 days, we've seen this market continue to chop up, really here accumulating some buyers near the 230 area. And then Thursday and Friday last week, really coiling up and putting a lot of pressure up here on the top end of this range. Heavy concentration of volume up here between 235 and 236.5, which was the prior week's high. Really solid breakout here of our bull pivot today. Opening range, hitting the ground running, getting bids right above that 236.5 level and never looking back today. Nice strong push up into the 240s, exactly what we wanted to see from the bulls here. Real heavy volume behind this move, so exactly what you want to see. This has all the signs of pushing this market back towards these all-time highs, so we should see new highs printing in a hurry. These front months were definitely the laggards of the day. We did see most of the strength come in these back months, with these spring 2026 contract months just coming within inches of new all-time highs here today at the high. But real solid gains all the way out into 2026. Showing like this market's got some legs here to go, and we should see this thing continue to rally back up into those new all-time highs before the end of the week, if not tomorrow. But like I said, real heavy volume day pushing us out of here. Real solid breakout above that pivot line there at 236.5. Perfect setup here for the bulls to continue this big picture uptrend and see these cattle prices continue to rally into the fall. Next up, we got our October feeders. Same story over here. Real solid gains, picking up about $9 on the day. Nice breakout today above that prior week's high, as well as that 355 line. We did see real nice concentration of volume coming in here right above that, right around that 354 to 355 area. Nice breakout above 355, which was Friday's high, and then some good follow through above the prior week's high there at 356. Just never really looked back here for the feeders either. Pushing all the way from that 355 mark, excuse me, all the way up into the 360s. Real solid gains here. Heavy volume once again, trading over 15,000 lots on this front month feeder contract. And but most of the strength where we saw a lot of the impressive moves of the day was these 2026 contract months where we did have limit up moves across the board here throughout these early spring and early summer contract months all the way down the line. Real solid gains, heavy volume pushing this thing out of here. All the best signs that the bulls could be looking for. Look for this market to hit the new all-time highs here before the end of the week. And looks like $4 could be on deck for these feeders. So look for this market to continue pushing higher. Next up, got our December corn futures. We did see a nice flush here today below that Friday's low, all the way back down here into the epicenter of that WASD report we saw back here on the 12th of the month. As we discussed this weekend, this market just could not push through that 430 level. Not really getting that momentum they needed to get that breakout like they wanted. And overnight, we did see this market kind of flush back down here into this range here where we had that WASD report getting dropped back here on the 12th of the month. Pushing all the way back here and then just churning all the way around that opening range here this morning, and a nice rally into the close there. Nothing really getting this ball rolling higher yet, but we are seeing good pushback off of these averages here today with that nice long wick. We need to get bids above 422.5, which was the day session high today, to get this market pushing back up here towards this bull pivot here at 430. If the bulls can accumulate enough buyers down here in this 420 to 415 area, we could see them try and rally the troops here and push this market back up here through that 430 bull pivot, close that gap, and move this market into a new uptrend territory. So look for more supportive action tomorrow. If the bulls can continue to defend this 415 to 420 area and these rising moving averages, we could see a nice run back up here and get this market rolling back to new monthly highs, that is. We do have a lot of work to go through here as we break through that 430 level, but we should see this market, if we do get close of that gap, to rally up here to the 4.5 area. And we should see some upside come from there. But in the meantime, we need to make sure the bulls can continue to defend this area right around this prior WASD report epicenter here. So look for the bulls to continue to try and hold this market here and push this thing back through. If not, and we get a break back down below 416, we could see lower corn prices if we get offers below 416 to 415. Up next, crude oil market, just a nice balanced day here today. A little range here going back and forth, not really a whole lot of directional moves, but a lot of indecision at the moment. We are accumulating a lot of equal lows here, down here right around the 61.5 mark, so we are putting some pressure on the 61.45 bear pivot. And so far here in the evening session, we are continuing to get some downside here below 62. Looking like the bears are getting a little bit heavy in this market. We could see a nice flush below 61.5. Could open the door down here into the high to mid 50s. No real directional moves here. Very low volatility market still. Expecting to see some chop here if we do get some bids back above 62.5. But we could see this market continue to range trade here between the 61 and 66 area. But offers below 61.5 could open the door to another markdown here in these oil prices. So we could see the bears shift a little bit and get this market pushing lower. We aren't expecting any real major breakdowns, but we could see a nice steady grind down here into the 50s. So look for lower prices if we do get some offers below 61.5 going into tomorrow's session. And last but not least, equity markets continue to climb here. Very little resistance here at the moment as this market just continues to make a nice steady grind higher, pushing up into new all-time highs here across the board. Each of our indexes hitting new highs here on these futures today. Here we go. Nasdaq finally getting above 25,000, and the Dow was just kind of balancing out around the prior couple days range here, but we did see a new high print here coming in late around that 46,784 mark. Real solid gains here. With this 3-day balance session we've had here in the Dow, if we can get some bids above these prior day highs, we could see this market really start to get that next leg out of here once these Dow stocks start to catch up to these tech sector stocks here in the Nasdaq that have already made a really nice 3-day push. We could see the Dow try and play catch up here and really give the S&P and the Nasdaq that extra boost it needs to push up here towards the 6,800 and even potentially S&P 7,000 by the end of the year. So look for a nice smooth sailing higher in these equity markets. Stay long and strong. Nothing really to be concerned about here at the moment, and market looks healthy and strong. So stay in there and let the market reward you. That's all we got for this evening. We will catch you guys tomorrow night. Have a good evening.